In tonight's coverage, you can count on live team coverage on the devastating southern tornadoes and how they impacted either directly or indirectly our part of the Carolinas.
I'm Conan Gasquet and Roland. Storms hit southeastern North Carolina, but find out how folks around here avoided serious damage.
The National Weather Service in Wilmington, North Carolina has issued a severe thunderstorm.
And that sound could be the only warning you get for severe weather in South Carolina. Tonight, we'll tell you why the state doesn't have tornado sirens.
And in a totally different matter, we'll show you how and where you can get into the spirit and watch tomorrow's royal wedding.
Live from the WBTW News Center, this is News 13 at 11. Coverage you can count on.
And the Mid-South continues to reel from yesterday's deadly line of tornadoes.
And today, that same system hit our part of the Carolinas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Wendy Redmond.
Hello, I'm Bob Juback. Thanks for joining us tonight. And we can certainly be thankful that that storm system dramatically weakened once it got close to us. But again, that system may go down as the deadliest tornadic outbreak in this country in more than 85 years. Nearly 200 tornadoes have been reported in the past 48 hours, and the worst hit right there in Alabama. More than 200 died in that state alone. 295 confirmed dead right now. That number continues to grow by the hour. Hundreds of thousands of people are still without shelter and without power. And again, this could be the deadliest tornadic system in this country in 86 years. Again, today, that same storm system hit the eastern Carolinas, and it produced some tornadoes or probable tornadoes around here and also caused a pretty good amount of damage.
Yeah, but again, the positive news here is the storms were significantly weaker when they got here. Tonight, count on live team coverage.
Yeah, so we continue to take a look at the impact that these storms had on you. You see News 13's Conan Gasquet tonight in Roland, and we'll get to him in just a minute.
Yeah, but first we'll start off with News 13's Chief Meteorologist Frank Johnson. Frank.
Hey Wendy, the storms we saw earlier today, gone. They've all pushed offshore. That's the good news, and we will stay calm throughout the rest of the overnight hours. Take a look at our radar picture here, and we do see the thunderstorms we saw earlier today. They've all pushed offshore and continue to push offshore. Skies are clearing right now, and temperatures are cooling. Titan radar is completely dry right now, but I'm going to put on the storm reports from earlier today. Notice in and around the Florence area, those W's, that is wind damage that we saw earlier today. A lot of trees down in and around the Florence area. Some large hail up toward Robeson County into parts of Columbus County. Also a couple of tornado reports near Turbyville. We did have a report of a tornado. Well, that'll get confirmed tomorrow. Also across parts of Columbus County, a couple of reports of tornadoes up there as well. One confirmed tornado, that one near Sumter in Sumter County, but the crews from around our area will be out tomorrow to confirm some of those damage reports across our area. Tomorrow's weather will be much calmer and much nicer. I'll have a look at that coming up in a few more minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Frank. We certainly look forward to the weekend forecast, too. Again, as Frank said, the only confirmed tornado right now in our part of the Carolinas is in Sumter County, but there were 2 reported tornadoes in Columbus County, also perhaps one in Clarendon County, also perhaps one in Bladen County. None of those, though, were major twisters, and no one was seriously hurt.
Yeah, but they certainly had a lot of people on edge, and perhaps especially those of you out in southeastern North Carolina, which got hit by a string of tornadoes just 12 days ago. That includes parts of Robeson County. New at 11, News 13's Conan Gasquet is in Roland. And Conan, not to downplay what happened out there, but things could have been a lot worse for those folks, right?
Absolutely, Wendy. We talked to folks, we talked to law enforcement, we talked to residents of Columbus County, we talked to folks in Robeson County and Bladen County, and from everything we're hearing, there was really no serious damage, and that's very fortunate, especially here in Roland, because as you mentioned, a couple weeks ago, some really serious damage from the storm that hit here, and there's still plenty of debris left around here. You can see some right here. This is roots of a tree, and you can just see how it was just ripped out of the ground by the wind. There's also still a very big tree across the street here laying down where it fell very close to 2 homes. There's also plenty of debris left on the ground that has still yet to be cleaned up. So things certainly could have been a lot worse here had another storm come through and sort of stirred up some of this debris or even created more debris. Now, some of the folks in Columbus County told us there were a couple minor auto accidents related to the weather, but aside from that, really no serious damage, and I think most of the folks around these parts of North Carolina feel very fortunate that there was no serious damage.
Okay, News 13's Conan Gasquet live in Robeson County. Thanks. Back on the South Carolina side of the border, every single local county spent part of this day under a tornado watch or warning. We saw heavy damage in Coward. That's where strong winds blew a tree onto a church. And east of there, also in lower Florence County, Patricia Evans of Pamplico heard what sounded like a train. She looked outside, she saw the trees sway, then the sky went black, and then that large tree that you just saw fell just within feet of her house.
I'm very fortunate and very blessed because I was here alone, by myself when this happened. And, if it would have moved over just a matter of inches or feet, I very well could have not made it out alive.
This could change tomorrow, but again, so far, the National Weather Service has not confirmed any tornadoes in Florence County.
Despite the fact that yesterday's tornadoes killed hundreds of people, more may have died if not for tornado sirens that warned a lot of people that a storm was on the way. Very few areas in South Carolina, however, have those sirens. Instead, emergency management and the public mainly rely on weather alert radios and broadcast warnings. In Horry County, one argument against sirens is that the Strand is a transient area and tourists wouldn't know what the sound meant, or if they did, what they should do when they heard it.
And we believe that a lot of the resorts and a lot of businesses use those weather radios because that's really the only way they have to notify all of their clients and people that are there as to what the situation is in regards to, current or imminent storms.
There are some alert sirens around here, but they're for a nuclear emergency near the Robeson plant in Hartsville and the Brunswick plant in Southport. One argument, however, for local sirens is Bennettsville. In 1984, even though a tornado killed 9 people in Marlborough County, a siren warned the public 30 minutes before the actual twister hit. Many feel without that siren, more would have died. That siren is no longer in operation. Well, yesterday's tornado that hit Tuscaloosa came very close to the University of Alabama. Yeah, even killed some Bama students. So you wonder, what would South Carolina's 2 largest schools do if a tornado came toward their campuses? And more specifically, do Clemson and USC have a plan in place? New at 11, News 13's Robert Kittle continues tonight's team coverage with the answer.
Long before this tornado at the University of Alabama, both USC and Clemson had plans in place for how to deal with weather emergencies like this.
Do you know how you would be notified?
The university would send an email or a text message to us through the university system.
Both USC and Clemson can send out instant emails and text alerts warning students about any emergencies. Students are also given information when they sign up about where to go.
A lot of our buildings have basement levels that don't have any windows, and they're garages and stuff, and so I'm sure that's probably where you would evacuate to.
In addition to the text alerts, both schools have loudspeakers that give warning sirens and instructions.
USC has 5 of these sirens and loudspeakers around campus. Clemson has 3.
USC runs a test every Friday, playing a Gamecock Crow and the 2001 theme.
If a tornado were headed this way, would you know what to do and where to go?
No, I wouldn't know what to do or really where to go. I'd probably just wait in my room and see if I got an alert or something from the school.
The text alert system is set up for that.
It actually gives you procedures to follow if there's an impending emergency, such as a tornado, that you should go to the center of your whatever building you're at in an interior hallway, away from windows and glass doors and that type of thing.
Both schools say they also have plans in place to respond after an emergency. In Columbia, Robert Kittle, News 13.
Now, Clemson University used its email alert system yesterday to warn students and staff about severe weather that did head their way in the upstate. And the school encourages the students to sign up for instant text alerts, and about 100 more people did sign up yesterday. Beside weather, USC and Clemson can also alert students for other emergencies, like perhaps a gunman on campus.
Coastal Carolina University also has a plan in place in case disaster strikes. Among other things, CCU spokesperson Martha Hunn tells News 13 the university uses a computer system to communicate with students. Hunn says it sends out text alerts to notify students and staff of anything potentially dangerous going on or near campus. Notifications also go out over the school's e-message board and on campus TVs. And don't forget, News 13 can also give you a heads up on severe weather. Just sign up for a News 13 weather text alerts. All you have to do, text SC Now Storms to 88788. Then we'll send you your most accurate forecast to your cell phone. It's weather coverage you can count on.
Still no sign of a teenager who went missing while swimming in Myrtle Beach. Crews continue to search for Jeremy Terrett today, and weather has hampered this search somewhat. Rough seas, rip currents. Terrett disappeared in the ocean yesterday afternoon off of 24th Avenue North in Myrtle Beach. Jeremy is out of Maiden, North Carolina. Again, 18 years old. Maiden's not too far from Hickory. Right now, the search is in recovery and not in rescue mode.
A nearly 20-hour standoff ends with a suspect in custody. It all started just after 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon when authorities tried to pull over a vehicle in Marlborough County. They say the driver then led them on a 25-mile chase that ended outside of a home on Union Street in Bennettsville. Investigators say Vondell Malachi stayed in his car and refused to surrender until just before noon today. Investigators say Malachi ran after he murdered his girlfriend, Takia Easterling. Mr. Easterling was 20. The sheriff's office says the standoff lasted so long because they wanted to make sure everyone involved was safe.
I am thankful to God that this was a peaceful ending. The suspect didn't get hurt, and none of us got hurt. We just had some long night hours and just lost some sleep, but I'd rather lose sleep than to lose anything else.
Malachi is in jail charged with murder. He will face additional charges in relation to the case and the standoff.
A Georgetown man remains in jail tonight charged with committing a lewd act on a minor. Conway police arrested Melvin Moultrie. He's 53 years old. This charge actually stems from an incident that was reported to police back in May of 2007. Moultrie again in jail, held on a $10,000 bond. Lumberton police and the FBI search for a bank robber tonight. Police say the man you see right there in that yellow hat held up the BB&T on North Elm Street at around 2:15 this afternoon and then ran out. No one was hurt. Police describe him as a Native American in his mid to late 20s, about 5'8", 180. You can take a longer look at the picture online at scnow.com, and if you think you know him, go ahead and call the Lumberton police. Word tonight that Chrysler will soon repay $7.5 billion in bailout money from the U.S. and Canadian governments.
And that's considered a positive sign for the automaker. We should know more about the plan on Monday. In other news from across the nation tonight, this is not really a surprise, but today President Obama announced a shakeup of his national security team. He wants current CIA Director Leon Panetta to be the new defense secretary, and the president nominated General David Petraeus to take over the CIA. There are other changes, and generally speaking, the choices have approval from both Democrats and Republicans, so there doesn't appear to be a problem to get Senate confirmation.
Some children in the D.C. area are pretty lucky that their parents actually work at the White House, and that's because today was Take Your Kids to Work Day. There you see First Lady Michelle Obama. She welcomed the children of people who work at the executive office.
Look at that. And you expect to find a lot of things at the mall, but pole vaulters, probably not on your list. However, hundreds of people gathered in Iowa to watch some of the best vaulters in the world fly through the air. The competition was all part of the annual Drake Relays.
In addition to our thunderstorms today, it was also warm and humid out there. Temperatures in the PD in the 80s. Florence saw 83 degrees, an inch of rain in Florence, but only a trace of rain along the Grand Strand in North Myrtle Beach. Temperatures on their way down. I'll have a look at how much cooler it's going to be coming up.
Thank you, Frank. And still to come on the news, the royal wedding is just hours away, and coming up, we'll show you how you can join in on the celebration.
And after nearly a year's wait, the newest addition to the iPhone family was released today. Find out what makes the new phone so different when News 13's coverage you can count on continues.